Alcohol relapse, the deadly truth. My worst relapse was my last one, and it took me close to death. Now, I was a little bit naive about all this. I shouldn't have been. I've been drinking for years, but I thought after a long period of sobriety, things might be all right. They should be all right. I'd have some sort of control over things because I'd relapsed in the past for a year or two, and I felt terrible. But I eventually got some diazepam from the doctor. It put me right, if that makes sense. Anyway, moving forward, I was up for 8 years. A long time sober, that, when you've been a drinker all your life. And then 2014 came along. I hadn't had a drink for 8 years. I was feeling good. And I got into a relationship and I started to drink a little bit. This is why it's so dangerous. So when you take one drink, for some reason, you want two. Now it doesn't start with, oh, one drink's going to kill you. It will, but the way to think of it is, you take one drink. This is what happened to me. And you don't have anything for a week. Then you think, oh, I'm feeling good. Then you start with 2 drinks. Nothing for a week. You think, I'm in control again. But you've never been in control, really. If you're an alcoholic, you've never been in control. But you trick yourself. You try and convince yourself, this is going to be the big one. This is going to be all right. I'm going to be the sort of guy who can go out for 3 or 4 pints, 2 or 3 nights a week, and have a couple of pints on a Sunday with the lads, watching a game of football. But that can be so wrong. You'll be so wrong. You're so far from the truth of that. It's not going to happen like that. So I started to drink a little bit, as I described, and a little bit more. And then I started to have a drink virtually every day. Then I might have been off for 8 years and not touched a drop. And then one day I woke up and felt a bit edgy, a little bit detached, a bit tired. Don't know what it was. I managed to get through most of the day, and about 4 o'clock I thought, I'll just nip the off license and get a couple of drinks, a couple of cans. That sort of settled me down a bit. And I thought, I wonder if I can have tomorrow completely off. But I couldn't. So I felt, go and have a couple at lunchtime. A couple of days later, I went to a local pub in the high street at 11 o'clock and wasn't open. I thought I'd panic a bit then. Why is the pub open, you know? I felt I needed a drink. This is only after about 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks of sobriety. I'd been on holiday as well, traveling around Europe, and I'd been drinking a little bit there. When I got back, I thought, let's try and settle down a little bit. Try and get back to normality. Anyway, that didn't work, so I drank a bit more at the doctor's. They wouldn't give me the diazepam. Tried another doctor, wouldn't give me the diazepam, even though I hadn't had it for 8 years. So I thought, well, what do I do now? I went to one of these self-help things. That didn't do me any good. A couple of AA meetings, that didn't do any good. I knew I needed some sort of medication, so I thought, well, I'll get some from the internet. But I didn't trust the internet enough to stop drinking. So I thought I'll have a few pills, and then I'll have a little bit of drink and try and cut down that way. All these different permutations I came up with. I couldn't stop drinking. So obviously the diazepam and the drink would be, I would say, doubly worse than just the drink. Now, whether or not these pills were any good, I don't know. But at that time, by the time I got to about a year in of drinking, I was starting to feel I've lost control now. And I just kept drinking for self-medication purposes. All the time in the back of my mind, I don't want to just stop because I had a seizure, you see, previous to that. It's very dangerous to stop if you're dependent. So 2014, 2015, 2016, I'm starting to drink a bit more. Family starting to notice. Cars rotting away in the driveway or in the car park. I'm losing weight a bit. So I'm thinking, well, I can't get off this. How am I going to get off it? And then you go to the doctor again. No, I can't bother going to the doctor. Start to feel anxious. The anxiety builds up again. So by about 2017, that's 3 years drinking. I was in my flat, deteriorating badly, mentally, physically. Flat was a mess, total mess. Wasn't looking after myself, wasn't shaving, wasn't eating. As I've said previously, my flat became a bit of a hellhole, really. No heating, no hot water, and even ended up with rats in the apartment. My whole day was spent trying to figure out why I got into that mess, feeling guilty, remorseful. Why is it me? You know, why it happened to me? Why didn't I just stay sober longer? Why did I have to, start because somebody didn't persuade me, but somebody asked me about my alcohol issue and I wasn't strong enough to tell them I was an alcoholic. All this regret comes into your life. Then you start to lose any genuine friends you've got. And so my daily life was trying to struggle out of bed, the can of lager next to my bed, often staggering about, falling over. Because if you've been off for a long period, your body goes into shock really when you start drinking again. It can't handle it. And every relapse is worse than the one before and hits you like a train. So I knew I was in a mess basically. I knew I couldn't get out. I had friends telling me I should go and see a doctor. I made up stories I was seeing the doctor, all this business, and I wasn't in the end. I wasn't eating at all, like I say, so malnourished. I looked grey. The flat became more and more untidy, and my whole day was sitting around waiting to go to a pub just to get out the flat. I was using a company called Dial Drink to get lagers in because I had so much anxiety at the time. If I didn't have enough stock, I ended up with, case of slabs of Stella lager in the cupboard I've got, which I'm never going to drink. You couldn't drink it in 100 years, which I never drank. I got sold off. The flat, as I said, was a mess. I ended up with a hole in the bathroom. Couldn't shower. Ended up not even existing. It was an existence at best. I wasn't living my life. At some points, you think I wanted to get myself arrested to get detained, because I knew that police stations had medics in them now. So I'd been a police officer in London, and how sad is that? Going from being in control of everything to being in control of nothing. Because alcoholism, you give up everything for one thing, which is a drink. No matter how hard you fight it, it's always going to win. If you have a period of time off, there's always something sitting here, it's just going to come back at you like a train. I still can't fathom out why it happens to alcoholics. Just that one drink will lead you down a terrible path. And they always say, don't pick up. Do not have the first drink. I was speaking to somebody the other day, they hadn't had a drink for 35 years. Decided to have a couple of lagers and they went to hospital with alcohol poisoning. Because after your body's detoxed, it can't take any alcohol anymore. And when I'd gone through various procedures in hospital, and I had ascites fluid, I had SBP, spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, I had decompensated liver disease, which is now compensated and everything seems to be working fine. I asked the doctors, do people start drinking again? He said, yeah, most people go back on the drink. And quite a large proportion of people who have liver transplants, I didn't have a liver transplant, thankfully, they'll go back and drink a while, they've got a new liver, but they don't realise the damage that's been done physiologically over all the time you've been drinking. So you can't have any drink. Don't even think about relapsing, because it is going to kill you in the end. This is my thought personally. Relapse nearly killed me. If I just kept steadily drinking, I don't know what would have happened. But because I had those 8 years off, I sort of thought, well, maybe I'm going to be all right. Maybe, and bear in mind, the relapse previous I wasn't all right. But the last one was my last one, as it were. It was the end, if that makes sense. Because I could not now face a drink, because I wouldn't want to end up in such a mess. Now, there's a lot of people trying to get off the drink or watching the channel, and they can't because of relapse. You've got to try and stop it. If you take a drink or two, you must stop as soon as possible. I kept on going because I thought I had control. You're not going to have control. believe you me. I'm here to give you a warning. I've been there. The medics are good, but people like myself and others that do similar things on YouTube and all over the place, they know how you feel, and you cannot ever be in control. Once you've got alcoholic dependency or you're in active addiction, no matter how long you stop for, if you start again, it's the end of the road. I'm very lucky to be here. And after, the period between 2014 and 2019, I nearly died, and obviously hospital after that and all these different things that had done to me. The medics were amazing, but nobody ever came up to me and said, I know how you feel, because I've been in the same place. It's a bit of a stark warning, that, but it's coming to Christmas again. It's a bit of another warning about Christmas. An alcoholic can relapse anytime. 24 hours a day, you can get a drink. So be careful, look after yourself. If you benefit from the channel, then please subscribe. If you want to leave me a comment, please do. Share the videos, because there's lots of people who are struggling, I know that. I've got an ebook out as well. And hopefully I'll speak to you all very soon.